Good night. Welcome to Conversation, a special edition of Conversation with Rickford Burke. We are dealing with explosive evidence that has now come to light in the uh, Adriana Young murder case. Share the link, everyone. In the meantime, we're seeing some scenes from a vigil at Touchen. This issue is not going to go away. These people, all of us, demand justice for Adriana Young. So joining me tonight will be Attorney at Law Amanzo Walton Desir, Member of Parliament for the APNU. Also, Member of Parliament for the APNU for Region 3, Ganesh Mahipal, whose live feed we're getting there from Tushin. Also joining me is Member of Parliament Christopher Jones, Chief Whip of the Opposition. And expected to join me sometime in this broadcast is Mr. Darren Wade, attorney at law for the for Adrian Young's family. So while you share the link and we try to queue up everyone into the studio, excuse me, let's go live to um, Tushin on the east bank of Essequibo and observe the vigil.
I'm good. How are you? Keep it like that. I done a live program. Hi.
So on the ground at Tushin is Member of Parliament Ganesh Mahipal, whose constituency is Tushin. Ganesh, why don't you tell us what's happening there now before we start our discussion?
Good night, Rickford. Good night to all the viewers. Can you hear me clearly?
Loud and clear.
Yeah, so tonight they're having a prayer session for the family and to seek to bring or attempt to bring some degree of comfort by way of prayer. And an invitation was sent out for anyone who wishes to be a part of the prayer session to assemble right at the location where the girl was, what I would say, gruesomely murdered. And I would average about 500 to 600 people are here. I could be wrong because I don't have that expertise in terms of estimating crowds. But I was counting earlier and I counted directly 460 people. So I'm average from then to now. More people, of course, came. So I'm averaging 500. And people continue to come, which is a show of respect, a show of solidarity, a show of concern. And throughout uh, in various sections of the crowd, people are expressing their disgust and they sympathize on the basis that it could have been anybody's child. Unfortunately, it was Adriana Young, an 11-year-old, but people understand here that this could have happened to any person's child. And the disgust is greater on the basis that this is not the first time something of this nature has occurred at this place. But you see, in this country, one of the major concerns of people is once you have money, you seem to be getting off with crimes and criminal activities. And I have before me also some friends from the Alliance for Change who are here. So they were seeing them also. They came down to make their presence here. But I haven't seen him as yet. But I hope I will see him just now. But the whole aspect of what is being discussed in pockets of the crowd is the fact that it's not the first time something like this has happened here. And that is what has sparked the outrage. And you know, it is good to see that the country is standing up because you will never want to have a repeat of something like this. And if you don't stop it now, the possibility may very well exist that a repeat can happen. And that is why people are sounding their voices and making themselves present at such an event. Mind you, earlier we had inclement weather, but clearly people have braved the inclement weather and decided to come out nonetheless. And that's a show of strength. It's a great show of strength to know that people have braved the weather and showed up. And even when I look around too and I see that you have people from all different areas assembling, it is one that sends a vibe that we are not going to allow this to go down as another unsolved case or another case where an individual could just be murdered and the perpetrators get off. You know, it is very sad that these are the kinds of events that Guyanese have to engage in to get some sort of satisfaction. It should not have been. And I am very disturbed by the fact that the police failed the people of Region 3. The police failed the family. The police failed the nation because they should have acted more responsibly and they should have been more of a service and protection nature to the citizenry of this region. They have clearly lost that right to claim that they serve and protect because of their actions. And there is a breakdown, a complete breakdown of trust right now. And people do not trust the police. And when you have situations like that, your country becomes worrying. The law enforcement agency is supposed to demonstrate trust, and people are supposed to have confidence in the police. But right now, there is need for the police force to rebuild trust with the citizens of this region and this country. There is need for there to be a rebuilding of trust. Now, I don't want people to get me wrong. A nation, any nation, whether it's Guyana, whether it's Barbados, Trinidad, Suriname, any nation, you deserve to have a law enforcement body. You deserve to have a police force. What you do not deserve is a corrupt, compromised police force where their hands are in the pockets of rich people and they get off from committing, and rich people get off from committing heinous acts such as this one. And it is this kind of showing that has led the Guyana Police Force through its command commissioner, Clifton Hickin, to first transfer Mandal, and then this afternoon we were told that he is on administrative leave. But that should have happened from the moment they found that girl in the pool. Since then, Mandel should have been transferred out of this region and placed on arrest, on close arrest, or what they call administrative leave. But they did not act in that vein. What they did instead was allow him to still stay, and that agitated people. That caused the people to have issues. And that is why people came out and vent their frustration. And that is why people assembled at the Lenora police station. That was their demand. They wanted Mandel out of the region. They wanted him arrested. And they wanted the other police officers who are also involved in this heinous act to be held accountable. And it is sad that this is the degree that people had to go. This is the way people had to make that kind of demand. It is very, very sad. I think that the mistake we have with the police right now is having Clifton Hicken at the top there because he has proven to be incompetent. He has proven to not have concerns addressed that people have, and he is a retiree. He needs to go his way, rest peacefully. He's already conformed, so he will go with his pension and everything else. Nothing he will lose, but they need to make way for fresh faces. We need fresh leadership and fresh guidance in the Guyana Police Force to restore some degree of confidence in the people so that they can begin the process of healing and rebuilding trust, which is necessary for us to continue as a nation in a way that can be deemed as peaceful. And unless Irfan Ali takes that kind of actions, then people will forever not have the trust in the Guyana police force.
Ganesh, let
And
me
let me
jump in
make
here
this
and ask
very
you.
clear.
Let
Let
me
me
ask
make
you
this
this. Can
let me
two
make this
questions?
clear before you ask me something. Let me
Uh-huh.
make this very clear.
Go ahead.
There are good people in the Guyana police force. Don't get me wrong. There are good people in the Guyana police force who have who are honest, who are decent, and who are prepared to do what is right, who are prepared to serve and protect. We do have people of that ilk. But right now, that is something that we can't hold on to because of the actions of these officers we had here in Region 3. And you know the saying, one rotten apple can spoil the entire barrel, or the fish rots from its head. And before I allow you to ask me, let me say again that rebuilding trust and having confidence restored will happen once Clifton Hicken is removed as Commissioner of Police.
Well said. Ganesh, let me ask you this two things. This, so far, this incident has happened since Wednesday. This young lady was abducted and possibly killed since Wednesday. Now is Saturday. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. The police has not held a press conference, has not faced the people through the press, nor the president, nor the Minister of Home Affairs to say, okay, this is what we know. This is the kind of information we're seeking. This is who we want to question. We're talking with external investigative forces, whatever, nothing, complete silence, just paper statements saying nothing. And the president has said nothing, absolutely nothing. These people, as we say in the Guyanese parlance, they are so past the nation. It's contemptuous. Do you have confidence in the president?
Well, I made this point before. I said that in jurisdictions across the country, or even in the United States, for example, in the various states, when incidents of this nature occur, you will find the commissioner of police and his other ranks surrounding him, and he will be having a press conference where he informs the nation, he provides information, and he seeks to give the people some degree of confidence in the work that is being done. We have not seen that from this Guyana police force. We have not seen the commissioner of police making any public appearance to give the confidence to the people, to lift the spirit of the people at this gruesome time where people of different races, people of different religion, Guyanese in total, are assembling in large numbers, seeking to want comfort. They want some degree of comfort. They want some degree of assurance. Now, let me tell you something. The president can say anything. The president can appear and he can have his optics done and he can take his photograph. At the end of the day, the authority, the law authority in terms of prosecution, in terms of apprehension, in terms of charges and so on, rest with the judiciary and the police. And the police right now have to play the major role in bringing some degree of comfort to the people. The Guyana police force has too many political interference that is affecting the manner in which they function. If we allow the Guyana police force to function without political interference, we will have a better police force. We will have a better police force that will serve and protect its nation. Right now, what we have is a force that is very close to the rich and the poor suffers. But as we are seeing here, here is a situation where the poor are now speaking out. The poor has come out and they're sounding their voices and they are in the numbers. So no rich person can believe that they will get off that easily, at least not under these circumstances that we find ourselves in. But again, I say to you, we do have good policemen and women in our force. We do have policemen and women that are able and capable to do their job. It is their livelihood, so they have to stay quiet at this point in time. They're afraid of being transferred. They're afraid of facing the penalty of the higher ups. But at the end of the day, fixing the force requires Clifton Hicken to go home. It's as simple as that.
Ganesh, where's the crime chief? This is the purview of the crime chief. Where's the crime chief? Have you heard anything? Has he said anything? Has he been on the
Nothing,
ground?
nothing. And that's what I'm saying to you. All the communication we seem to be getting from the police are statements. And you can't trust that because the first statement that came out was one that was laced with lies, one that was laced with a make-up story in an effort to convince people, and it was found out minutes or hours after to be a story filled with lies. So you can't even trust it. Not even a press conference so that the media can grill the commissioner or grill the commander or grill the crime chief. Nothing of the sort. People want answers, and the guy in the police force is failing the people.
Ganesh, you just mentioned that the police force issued a lie to distract the parents to leave the hotel to potentially give the killers an opportunity to move that body. The parents did not buy it. Um, I want you to listen to the person who they implicated, the person who owns the car or who was driving the car, which was a totally made up story. Let's listen to what he had to say.
For let's say over a week now because the farthest I went was on Monday at Katrina. I was stopped at the bridge, and the corporal at the bridge said that I knocked down somebody's child in Touchen. So I was puzzled about it because I know for a fact I didn't went to Touchen for let's say over a week now because the farthest I went was on Monday at Katrina. And then a next police officer came up to me and she told me that it is not hit and run, it is abduction, alleged abduction. So I got more angry because, you know, it's early in the morning, you're trying to get where you want to be, and then you have to deal with the stress of the traffic with the bridge, and then to hear something like this early morning. They escorted me to Lagrange police station. That is where I was detained for more than 12
Ganesh,
hours actually. When they detained me at the bridge, they said it's on a commando. They didn't state which commando. All they said was I was being detained on the commando ward.
press
That
conference.
if they find the vehicle,
Thank you.
they should detain the driver and the
Thank you
vehicle.
very much.
And that is all I was told when they held me at the Lagrange police station. Now, I have to say that the police them that was detaining me at Lagrange police station, they were very nice, except for the one at the Harbor Bridge. They were very much rude and hoggish and refused to, cooperate with me as well.
Right.
But the one them at Lagrange police station, Miss Boston, I have to give compliments to her. She was very nice and she treated me well.
Right.
But my issue is I am a contractor. I just do, as a contractor, you just work for day-to-day
Hi, how you
pay.
doing?
Right.
You get paid as you work.
Mm.
And yesterday I had to call off work because I even lose a contract worth 500,000 yesterday because I was being detained for that incident.
Right.
And people wouldn't want to work with a criminal.
Right.
So that is why I ended up losing a contract yesterday. And then I seen the post on Facebook for the entire day. I was following it whilst I was at the station.
Mm-hmm.
The police them were following it as well with me, trying to get down to the commanders to know if they should release me after the body was found at the hotel.
Right.
Now, I told them I live in an apartment building right in Parfait Harmony. I have more than 10 persons that can stand witness saying that I was at home in the time of the abduction. The vehicle was in front of the building the entire time.
Right.
And nobody was taking me into consideration with the witnesses then.
Right.
And it was very stressful yesterday. So first of all, I am Muslim. I revert from Christianity to Islam,
Mm.
and I don't take part in no partying, no smoking, no drinking. So for a Muslim person to be in such a issue is kind of harsh, especially one that report from Christianity to Islam.
Right.
So it's kind of tough for me at the moment.
So, and I'll bring the other panelists in shortly. Ganesh, I mean, this is your constituency. What's your reaction to the fact that the police attempted to frame this young man? If they had gotten that body out of there, this young man would have been charged for murder, possibly.
And you know what it raises also? It raises the concern as to how many people were actually framed in previous crimes. How many people actually were framed and blamed for previous crimes? Because clearly this was a case where the police associated a vehicle. The police associated a vehicle, a black ram that is red, a red and black ram. They gave it a vehicle number. I think it was, I can't remember the number off the top of my head. They associated the vehicle to an individual. The police arrested that individual at the Harbor Bridge. The police locked that person away for more than 12 hours and placed the blame squarely at that individual's feet. And that is what was the made up story. And there is where the trust broke down completely. Completely, the trust broke down. And it is very unfortunate. My advice to that person, I'm no legal mind. Amanza here is a legal luminary, but I am sure common sense would tell anybody that that person ought to bring a lawsuit against the Guyana Police Force and he should be compensated properly for that level of embarrassment, that level of, that degree of an action that is uncouth, uncalled for, and something very, very evil to say the least.
Let me introduce the other panelists now. Christopher Jones, who is the opposition chief whip, member of parliament for the APNU AFC coalition, and attorney at law Amanda Walton Desir, who's also a member of parliament and the shadow minister of foreign affairs.
Hi, how you doing?
Amanda, your legal expertise is needed right here. What's your advice to this young man, and what's your reaction to his story?
Oh, he should sue them. Absolutely. Absolutely. There is grounds for um, a lawsuit there. We we cannot keep excusing bad behavior, and the government must understand that they will be held to account. Now, what we see happening here, Rickford, is the government propaganda machinery in full effect. I want to say to everybody, by way of opening remarks, involved in this, that we have to be careful. with the psychological games of the government. Because what you will see happening over the next few days is that they are going to try to say that the government is not responsible for the police. And of course, we've seen people who have a legal background say that the government is not responsible for what the police does. And that is absolute rubbish. Absolute rubbish. The government is absolutely responsible because it is the government that is responsible through the Guyana Police Force for the enforcement of law and for the maintenance of law and order. And so the police are agents of the state, so they are responsible. So let's put to bed this foolishness about the government not being responsible. The second thing that I want us to note is that the government will desperately try to make this about the family's wishes, etc. Hello, Rickford, am I on?
Yes, I'm hearing you. You seem to have frozen, but we're hearing you. Okay, we seem to have lost Amanda. Amanda, are you there? All right, let me go to Christopher Jones. Let me see. What is that? I think we've lost both Ganesh and Amans. I'm not sure what happened there. Let me see if I could get Chris. Chris, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Rickford.
Can you pick up where Amanda left off there? What's your reaction to the fact that the government tried to frame somebody so as to create a distraction by the police for this body to be removed? That's the theory.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, when the Guyana Police Force had issued that statement, I too shared that statement on my platform, and in fact, I asked of the Guyana Police Force to also release the image from their CCTV camera of this vehicle, and I called upon the public to look in your community, to look in your village, to see if you identify this vehicle, because more than likely this child is in this vehicle. So in a case, I would have been aiding and abetting the Ghana police force in their lie. And as I said to a reporter yesterday, God forbid, had a community which was looking out for this said vehicle and number plate that was provided by the Ghana police force. And they found that driver, irrespective of
Could
what
you
he
imagine what would have happened?
exactly, irrespective of what he said, John Public would have never believed him. And worse yet, if that vehicle was parked in the apartment building that he reside, it is that entire facility that you would have had public spirited citizens rampaging throughout that facility to locate that girl. And that's why I am so furious with the Guyana police force. Now, Ganesh mentioned that uh, Commissioner Hickins should resign. Now, while I agree with that, it would not bring an end to the situation that we have. The Guyana police force is politically directed by the People's Progressive Party, Civic, irrespective of who is the commissioner. So you change Commissioner Hickins, you will have the same situation. The reason why we haven't seen the Guyana Police Force hosting a press briefing or a press conference because such instructions from the People's Progressive Party Civic has not been handed down to them. So the Guyana Police Force cannot host a press briefing or a press conference without being politically directed by the PPP to so do. It is only when you take the political action that the family and residents there over in Region 3 and the outcry on social media across this country and those in the diaspora that brought pressure to bear. And that's why we saw that after the amount of pressure that was brought to bear, that the commander for Region 3 was first reassigned to Region 4, Division B, and then subsequently sent on administrative reasons. That is the only way you get relief in this country. There is no professionalism in the Guyana police force anymore. You would know, Rick Ford, for many years, we've had similar incidents with shootings, the Boston in Dartmouth Village, the Henry Boys in Region 5, the Youngstown Golden Grove, and the list goes on. And every single time, you've had people contradicting statements put out by the Ghana police force. For example, the youngster on the east coast of Demerara, we were first told by the Ghana police force that he had a gun. And when you check the surveillance camera, the footage that was provided, it contradicted the statement of the Ghana police force.
But Amanza has rejoined us. I think Ganesh also attempted. Oh, Ganesh is also here. Um, I'll patch both of them through. Amanza, continue where you left off.
Look, I was making the point that the next strategy that the government will use is that they'll begin to pressure the family. They'll begin to pressure the family, and they will begin to try to cause division in the family. And so we have to be on the lookout for that, because in making the focus that the message that the government will be sending the people of Guyana is that this is about the family and this is about their wishes and what they want, and use that as a way to quell the national and international outrage that we are seeing. These are the deep psychological mind games the PPP plays with the nation of Guyana, and we have to be on the lookout for it, because I have news for them. Adriana is our daughter. And every man, woman that's a parent feels as if it were their own child. And so this struggle for justice has to continue, and um we have to be mindful of the devices that this government will use. And so this is why I am so happy that the aunt took the opportunity to remind Irfan Ali about his antecedents. And we have got to surround this family, and we've got to continue to pray for the family, and we have to continue to pray for the nation at large, because this is just pure evil. This literally is a battle of good versus evil. And the good people have to stand up, and we have to make our voices known, and we must have justice for this little girl that lost her life. I noticed people calling her a young woman as if she was a baby.
Yes, she was a baby.
She was a baby.
Amanza, you mentioned that the international attention this case is getting. I want to say, I'm looking here. We have 40,036 person watching right now. Also watching is a senator from New York. Just told me that he's watching, and we have a consul general and an ambassador from a Caribbean country. So this thing is attracting international attention. This afternoon, I briefed our members of Congress about this situation, because people are calling them, beginning to call them. So we will now have to have some sort of vigil or something in New York, because when you have issues at home, they tend to start to pressure their elected officials here to take some sort of position with regard to foreign policy in the United States. So I want to announce that we'll do a vigil here. I want to also announce that our elected officials, federal, are watching. We know this has now jumped to 44,160 people watching. You mentioned today that you mentioned earlier that today Irfan Ali was reminded by the aunt of Adrinna Younge about his activities before. Let me put this in context. So last night, the president issued a statement saying protest is illegal. I'm not sure what part of the planet he came from, and it seems as though only PPP people are entitled to protest, because every time there's an incident and there's a breakdown in the police, or people march and protest for justice, the PPP and the police say those protests are illegal. Now, let me show what happened last night in at Leonora, when the police, to me, unprovoked, just caught someone who didn't run and beat them up. We'll come back at the other end of the tape. There you go. Just caught somebody. Look how they'll just beat this person up savagely. No, that's unacceptable. I mean, we don't have song, but that is unacceptable. And this is because of the culture in the PPP. Whenever people protest against them and the police, they beat them, they shoot them, they kill them. They don't believe people have a right to protest until they want to do a protest. Now, in 2020, Irfan Ali, while a candidate for president, while he was a candidate that was a PPP presidential candidate, not only participated in a protest, he attempted to overturn the car of the then Foreign Minister, Dr. Karen Cummings. Let's watch. So there you have Irfan Ali and now the Minister of Culture, Youth and Sport, Charles Ramson, attempting to overturn, as far as I'm concerned, if you're trying to overturn a vehicle with somebody inside, you're trying to kill them. They're trying to injure the minister. David Granger and his government didn't send the police to shoot them. The police was very tolerant there. But there is Irfan Ali issuing a statement last night saying that the protest was illegal. Now, he met with a family today and attempted to tell the family that the protests are illegal and was savagely reminded about that activity by the aunt of Adrinna Younge. Let's listen.
The other thing is in terms of what took place on the road. As you're aware, I have no objections because we all want justice. We all want to get to the truth of this. Persons can do so peacefully, and they can, but blocking the road for hours is something that affects
Mr. Ali, I saw you blocking road. Yes, Mr.
So
Ali.
I'm just telling you.
Mr. Ali, there are videos with you protesting, you being a scrape and a tug. Mr. Ali, this is not, listen, sometimes we gotta put our position aside.
No, this is not position.
No, we gotta put our position aside and place ourselves into people's shoes. You gotta understand, even those persons who were traveling, yes, they were inconvenienced, but they understood the reason. They understood the reason. We understand the inconvenience, but those people understand.
I totally agree. I totally in support, and we will never ever not support peaceful protests. Never.
Now, he's so arrogant. He wouldn't even listen to what this grieving mother and aunt is saying. He's arguing back with her because she caught him being a hypocrite, a bloody hypocrite. Chris and then Amanza, what's your reaction to what took place here today?
No, listen, I think the aunt deserves a national award because essentially she was able to say directly to Irfan Ali what Guyanese across this country know of the reality of how Irfan Ali and the People's Progressive Party Civic conducted themselves while in opposition.
He was being a hooligan. She said tough.
Exactly. And you know this question about peaceful protests. What I saw in Region 3 last night was a peaceful protest. The people stood up for justice. They blocked the streets. That happens across the world. Rickford, you there in the United States, we see it so many times. And what the police do, they allow those persons to vent their frustration, to get their message out, to get the media attention that the protest is seeks to get, and so forth. And after a few hours and so forth, then the crowd moves on. But what happens in Guyana, especially under the People's Progressive Party Civic, is that they like to go to these international forums. If you have congressmen and the United States Secretary of State comes to Guyana, they preach to them that Guyana is a thriving democracy, how Guyanese have a right for freedom of expression and freedom of movement and all of this. But the reality on the ground is completely different, as demonstrated again last night in Leonora. The PPP says one thing, but they do something completely different.
Amanda?
Rickford, I want to address the people who are asking, why is the government being blamed for the police? Rickford, we have to understand, we really have to understand that police are not private citizens. The police are agents of the state. And so when they operate, they're not operating in their individual power. They're operating pursuant to authority given to them by the state. And so it is for the state to require a certain level of conduct for the police. So to the degree that the state cannot require their police to act with integrity in keeping with the law, it is to that degree that this is a failure of the state, hence a failure of government. Because the police doesn't come to arrest you as a private individual. He comes to arrest you because he is an agent of the state. He showed up in the capacity of the state. Understand that when the police showed up, guarded the building to prevent the family from going in to search for Ariana, it is the state that showed up and guarded that building and prevented them from going to find the young girl. So this is what I want people to understand. There's no separation. And to the degree that any police departs from the norm, standards, and ethics that is required of a police, it is to that degree that he must be held accountable, because to the degree you're an agent, agency has a finite and definite scope of operation. And the principal is always held to account for the actions of the agent once he is acting within the framework of, for example, the police and his job. So this is this failing of the government. So this is why we're holding the government accountable. And I keep making the point that Irfan Ali is doing everything except what is needful. Irfan Ali, with the stroke of a pen, can make this better. With the stroke of a pen, Clifton Hicken could be sent on leave. With the stroke of a pen, the Region 3 commander could be relieved of his duties. With the stroke of a pen, you see a president doing everything except that which he ought to do to fix this problem. And Guyanese must never forget. We must never forget that at a time when Guyanese needed empathy, Irfan Ali chose ego. He chose to threaten the people of Guyana at the time that they were grieving and expressing their grief. Not because of anything, but because of the actions of their police. Adriana's dying is painful. To see the father plunge in the pool. I mean, you have to be less than human to not have felt that. And then add insult to injury. You have to live with the fact that if the police had acted in a manner that was professional, she might have been alive today. So there's nothing that Irfan Ali could turn up to say to anybody that will make that better. Clifton Hicken must go home. The Region 3 commander, all of them must go home. There must be an independent probe into the police, and heads must roll. They must all go home. Enough is enough now. Time for talking is done. This is an active cover up by the police. There's no if but about it. And then they're trying to make it seem as if it was the people who set fire to the building, when the evidence on social media is now emerging that it is possible that the police themselves set fire to the building. Because you know what I suspect they want to do? They want to play this out. They will hold the family for 72 hours, release them, rearrest them, hold them for another 72 hours to make the Guyanese people feel as if they're doing something. And then ultimately, they will say, oh, the evidence went up in flames. This is why they're trying to pin the burning of the hotel on protesters, when social media evidence is now emerging that it was a police officer who was in the vicinity of where smoke first started emanating and strolling casually away from that location.
Amanda, in a explosive development, um, someone has come forward who was a witness to some of what allegedly happened to to Adriana. I'm not sure if the police has spoken with this individual, but this information has been sent to the FBI. I'm not sure if the government has engaged the FBI, but I know for sure that the FBI has this information. And at some point in time, probably will talk with the Guyana law enforcement agencies. But let's now listen to her account of what she saw, she and her friend saw happen. And like I said, this is an account of what allegedly happened. We have not been able to independently verify her story, but this is her account.
Yeah, anyway, I was at the hotel since Monday with a friend who invited me there, right? On the same day when they all came to swim at the pool, I was also in the pool at swimming. So I saw the earlier in the afternoon. And in the afternoon, I saw when the grandmothers came and asking for the little girl, they were saying that they didn't know any of these things. Anyway, the night everybody came out and it was crowded outside. So I was telling the guy that, we need to move from here, and because
The other thing is in terms.
Sorry, there's a suggestion that Ganesh has just left. Ganesh, are you there? Ganesh is asking if we could join him because the father is speaking. So let's briefly join Ganesh, listen to the dad, and then we'll come back and listen to the eyewitness.
Wicked, go to yourself. You see a crowd of people standing in front of me. I beg these people for my dad. I said, give me my dad and let them go home. I said, please, my dad, I go home. I people are moving in front of me. I know what they are giving me that we got. Exactly. That was true. That was true. That was true. There was a lot of corruption. There was a lot of corruption. There was a lot of corruption. I don't even care what nobody say. Hear what I say, right? They say instruction, instruction don't come from bottom to top. Right? Instructions come from top to bottom. Exactly. So I cannot see my 11-year-old that is missing. And the commander for this division have the belly or the mind to come here. I didn't went here at the moment. But if I went here at the moment, it would be my vice against his vice. Because he could never come and tell me go home. Yeah? And when I come back here, and me family and tell me, the commander come here and tell me we to go home. I was like, go home? So we ain't going nowhere. I said we stay right there. We can stay all night. If we're flying, go went through there. And I stay right there. If the police come and block the door there, then I instruct them to come and block the door. If Inspector Alim is an inspector for 20 ranks and he has 20 ranks in him, he in charge of 20 ranks. He got hired for upstairs to bring his rank and put his rank there to block there. Yes, I tell Inspector Alim, you see when I find my daughter body, I glad each and every police was there to witness it. And the beauty in it, the police dirty. The beauty in it, shitty. The police dirty for what? A little bit of money. Dirty. Come on. If you're selling weed for money, where is the word sell weed for? Huh? If every day is listen, I say one guy, you know. What is my one guy? Come on, you show me where is one guy, you know.
This is my one
Huh?
guy now.
Somebody please point out to me where is one guy, you know.
Everybody is supporting.
Let me tell you something. Here I know. And this is now this is why I say it tonight is the one guy, you know. Yeah, watch what you This is the one guy, you know. And I don't know 75 people here. 75% of people. I don't know here. You're telling you? I might know 25 people, percent of people here, but I don't know the rest.
Yeah.
But for see to itself, these people just witness what I witness with my own eye and see what I see for my own self. So much years, so much years. I hear. This is the reason I never come this place, you know. My mom always tell me to come here. I never come this place. Never yet. Ever. Bring my kids. Was that I never come to this place on Swift. Never. You know what's going? I watch anybody who asks me, and who know me, tell them where's going. So where's going to the river? I the country man. I before God any river. You hear, tell y'all. I hear too much. This place is too small. Too much people being around there. Too much body dying there. Exactly. Exactly. That place is not a big place, you know. So when you sit down on this end there, you can see from the end there. Exactly, that's true. You are telling you. And that's every time something to happen here, camera don't work. Camera never working. Yeah. Conveniently. You want this place built back, brother. If this place, if this place built back, this place will never build back. If West Coast people, every region, 3 people. Look, this place is to build back. Get up and stupidness. You gotta build a monument. You know what you're building? A monument. Among the poorest who die here, supposed to build in frontage. Exactly, that's what. For sure, you have to take 4 or 5 lives for this to end. Here tell you, if they say come back here, we can't let it come back. If they say come back here, if they say come back here, yeah, come back, man. I say, yeah, come back here. Corruption. You don't want this back here, bro. If they say come back, corruption is happiest in Guyana. Because I say everybody, the beauty in it, you know the beauty in it, the beauty in it. When my daughter body was discovered, the beauty in it. It was no no civilian there to point the finger phone to say he had civilian walking there. The police come and carnage the area. The police come and put everybody out still. You hear? And the police was there. Since Mr. I know Mr. Smith. I know Mr. Smith. I born and grow in police off. I know Leon. I know him. He know me A1. We grow together. It's not something you don't know. We grow together. We all know each other. You hear? When the right come, when the right come at night, you know when the right come at night. Right? The right come with the squad. 2 jeep roll up. Exactly. Blue and white jeep and the white jeep. Yeah, the can. God. It was happen now. Yes, you right on to me and ask me if my daughter got phone. What shopping is this though? Right? They try to say that. The man asked me, your daughter got phone? She's using a phone. I said, yeah, my daughter's using a phone. She don't have a phone. But she's using a phone. She's using a sister phone. There's the little phone. There's she phone. Smallest one have a phone. But my daughters only use this phone during school work. Yeah, I'm telling you. Everybody, my daughters only use this phone for doing she school work as she was writing confidential. She was busy. Yeah, I'm telling you. You see this little boy, this is the second term in primary, and he did well. He get fours. He get 2 fours in the start. And when I come home, my mother say, so Brian, say bring first again, you know? 80 something percent. I was like, yeah, I'm glad. You wanna be shot. I said, where you want to go? I said, Daddy, we could go to the mall. I said, okay. Then told you we got here, we are rewarding you, you know? We went out to the mall with my, this is the last time I went out to my family. Easter Monday, I didn't feel well. My family get ready and I say we going. I say, well, yes, yeah, go along. And leave me home lay down on a chair. I was lay down on a chair. I had cool headache. I know to myself, oh God, it's Easter. So you got to out your wife, Brian, because it's Easter. She can get children. She go come home back. So I get ready and I wait. Remember, I still ain't feeling good. I wait when my wife come home. I got the coke and I wait. I can't say, tell she man, I got the coke. She say, okay, she come in. She come in and children. It's around 8 o'clock. I say, man, it's too late for children to be out. You don't know. So we got care of children, they say. And then we go come back. If you want to come back, we just spend an hour, hour and a half, and then, go we care of the kids. Sorry, thank you so much. And we come back. This is the only last time I spent a mission at, yeah, I'm the last time I spent with my kids. I didn't want any bathroom. I didn't spend no time with them. And normally, I've met kite every year. We go, we fly with kite. Met that kite, a pace, that kite, a see a pace, that kite. I'm not going to pace it. Father knows it, bro. Yeah, I'm telling you. I tell them, I know. As I see it, refilling bad by. See the right there, as I see it, I carry ya when we fly ya kite for the beach. I said, anytime, breeze, anytime, we get nice weather, we go to the river, we go fly that kite, because ya kite used to come, ya ain't get no flying. God, my wife called me and tell me, they're going out, my mama and they going out, and she called for Karen and Sharon. Normally, me kids, me children go by my mom most weekends and come back till Sunday night to go to school Monday morning. Most weekends, just pack them bag and go by the grandma. Friday afternoon, God. Yeah. Unless he wants to steal me, steal. Yeah, I'm telling you. So, my mom, I went by my mom the morning. I explained to she, I'm not feeling well. She even told and tell me, son, I got this tablet for your drink. Look easy. I tell you, man, I got some tablets already from the doctor. Me and drink it. Yeah, I'm saying because I only drink any panel. So, I left me mom. I had some food in the box. I left for her. She said, man, she want to buy the cooler. I said, man, when you ready for the cooler, come for the cooler is there. I left and I ride and I come home back. I come home back and then children don't get ready. I said, oh, why your eyes don't play? I said, but yeah, I want to come yet. And I talked to them and I tell them, this is my word to my children. I say, if nobody come for y'all don't want to know. But trying to tell them but 2 times the thing. I say, if nobody come for y'all please don't go know. Good. They're going to sit on my front step. They're waiting for the auntie or the grandmother to come because the grandmother is going. Nobody come. I went at the back watching cricket on my phone because normally it's IPL. I watching cricket. They walk past and I got inside the house. I said, Daddy, they haven't come as yet. They're waiting. I said, okay. I fell up, sit down there. I get up and then I got in the house and lay down in the chair, turn on the TV, watching some TV. The second daughter run come to me, Gabriel. She said, Daddy, we go in. The last thing this girl told me, Daddy, we go in. I didn't know my chair and raise up. I said, okay, baby, bye bye. I didn't ask them who come for them. I didn't ask them if they catch something going by the ground. I didn't ask them nothing. All I got real told and tell me, Daddy, we go in. I said, good. I sit down. I sleep away. Just to get a phone call. My mom called, but she didn't get through because I was sleeping. My uncle was sleeping in the hammock. We ain't living too far from each other. He coughed me. When he told me he coughed me, I must hear you jump out of sleep. I said, yes. He said, your mother just called. I said, if I need you, and I get up. Well, don't get pissed off already. From in my heart, I don't get pissed off. Because this sad story you don't call me telling me. You're finding me that. Me, I don't say, I don't got a headache. I get ready, I put on a pants and a shirt and a hat and I make so. Out the door. On the road, I got catch vehicle. Big a vehicle, I got catch vehicle. Wait for vehicle, reach Purico Junction. Catch the next vehicle for Purico Junction to reach here. When I reach here, it's after 2. When I reach here, it was after 2. When I reach here and stand up, I tell you, my mom just come with the police and walk in there. This was after 2. We got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Search how we go before the sun go down. That's how we go before the sun go down, you know. If me mother got the station and the police reach at 2 o'clock, what happen, Mori? Why this place when the police coming, police in? Lock down this place one time, so.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, I tell you.
Exactly.
Lock down this place one time, so. Who do work in it?
All everybody.
All the staff, all.
Everybody's supposed to
Boss man, all.
Yeah, boy.
Everybody who move in this place, hold for question.
Exactly. Lock the gate.
Yeah, I tell you.
Exactly. That's
Just how you see it. Nobody coming. Just how you see it. Last night, Jeepload after Jeepload the police.
exactly.
Jeepload after Jeepload the police will roll up here and surround this
Exactly.
area.
True.
Carnal area. And
That's
police
true.
will come. Like how, yeah, the pastor will speak. I want to stop talk just now, but I got to let people them know what happened here.
Exactly. Remember your more
That's
about
what
right
I
now.
I said, when the police them will come just to come and send all them ships last night, I can't laugh eh? And just go and come and tell me in the morning, they bring a sniffer dog, they're going to bring sniffer dogs in the afternoon because the clothes was right
Exactly.
here. The
Exactly.
clothes that you wear and come here with was right here in a bag. They're going to bring the sniffer dog 7 in the afternoon and they're going to find me that in the building because she was in the building. Now when me daughter done there, sniffer dog come in. Everybody come. People come out. I don't know why you. I don't know what you. Yes, they come and say set the police there. I don't know what I'm looking for yesterday. I don't know what I'm looking for. And the police go on the evidence.
No more evidence than what?
Huh? The
One
police
more
stand up by.
evidence.
It was there, you couldn't see. The police stand there. Tell that fire coming out from the building for walk downstairs. And you the police officer. Why you never had a fire? Eh? And the policeman, why you don't have fire? The man stand there till smoke start coming out by. I tell you, all they say, I swear by my life. You know why they didn't observe? I never observed the 2 footprints by the pool when I took me that. You know why I observed it? It's last night when I looking back, so some videos of people showing me, and I was like, somebody look, they say, look, 2 footprints there right there. You could see, like, when you come out this water, I mean, one, two for come out, it's just a cliff.
Exactly.
You hear it telling you, 2 footprints up here, just a dry, wet there. Come on, buddy. If fans bet too. Fans bet up. I hear you say, it's split the one money, it's split the one money. It's split the one this money so bad. Just go come and ask me, buddy, I want to beg everybody to give me this money. So we split it. Yeah, and I will, because no money can bring back my daughter life. Everybody telling me what
Not the
money.
camera back up.
That's the reality. I feel up hearing people bullshit. Yeah, telling you, because for the past couple of years, I just hear everybody bullshit. I hear everybody bullshit about money and money and money and money and money and money. I want y'all to see what I said tonight. I'm very proud about what I'm saying. I have no money in this world to pay for my daughter's life. You hear? You have no money in the world, nothing in Guyana. Nothing in Guyana. You have no money in the world to pay for my daughter's life. Right? And I know about struggling. Struggling is nothing hard to me. There's nothing I go into a 5 year or 2 year or 3 year. I go into struggles since I know myself. I started 2003, struggling all my life. I struggle all my life. I still struggling that day like today. I struggle for going to build a house for my family. Nobody know what is it. Here, I never thought the mother father asked the mother father, I gotta get a house. Right? I just watch some people just get every single thing in their life. Some people get so much. I was like, wow. What are gonna be me, right? Eh? You know what I get? I know what is it? Age of 16 or 15 to going back down and pulling preserver for people. Here are these things that I went through in my life. I know where is it? For example, a planting truck heading to Borbies. Some people might even know that. Here, some people don't know this. I head into Barbies as youth man growing up. Because I wanted money, I live with mommy. No, I live with granny and grandfather. Grandfather used to left every night to go and watch man for send me to school. Here's every way I can help out. I help myself, I help myself. Every weekend I get some work on planting truck, I take it. You understand? Because I know to myself, hey, I can help for buy something for myself, my granny, and God rest them soul. God rest them soul today like today. I am here tonight to ask Father because I know the evil was done to my daughter in this place. And I cannot rest my daughter's soul with evil touch onto her. So here tonight to pray out the evil from the. So when we rest my daughter, let's rest her peacefully. Father, this is all I ask for tonight. So I don't want to hold up the pastor anymore. So let the pastor continue to pray for us as we here. So, Pastor.
That was the father of Adriana Young, recounting what happened. Uh, painful. Painful. I am freaking angry. You hear me? Let's go back to the eyewitness testimony.
Yeah, anyway, I was at the hotel since Monday with a friend who invited me, right? On the same day when they all came to swim at the pool, I was also in the pool of swimming. So I saw the earlier in the afternoon. And in the afternoon, I saw when the grandmothers came and asking for the little girl, they were saying that they didn't know any of these things. Anyway, the night everybody came out and it was crowded outside. So I was telling the guy that, we need to move from here, and leave because they say it looks so nice. Anyway, the night, like late along in the night, I came outside to get some fresh air. And I see a guy who was, walking up and down, like, I didn't think nothing really. Anyway, I heard a scuffle, like, two room, a- two room away from my room. So that was room 135, right? But normally, you just hear things in hotel, but you just say, like, this part is scuffling. So I hear the scuffling all the time, like, and I hear a scream. So I was asking the same person that with me, you hear the person scream your phone? He said no, right? Anyway, I didn't sleep the whole night because after the coffee outside, I didn't sleep the whole night. Anyway, I looked through the window because where we were on the front of the park, you could see everything, right? And I saw this young man was dragging this child, right? I called my partner to come and see. Oh, they was dragging a child by her foot to the other room, right? And there was this Indian guy. I didn't see him from the face. I see him from behind, and they pour on the child and take her into the other room. Anyway, my friend took out his phone and he started video, right? But we didn't get to video the whole thing. Anyway, they put her in the other room. So while the people was arguing outside, they had the child in the other room. Which indeed, as the other lady said, there was a bin because indeed there was a bin there that they take was a yellow bin that they take and they put her in, right? And the same morning early, when everybody was about doing the whole thing, I feel they put the child in the pool, but I didn't see when they put the child in the pool, but I saw everything was upstairs. Right? And I'm scared. I don't know. I'm very scared to meet out to those people and to meet out to the police because I'm scared for my life and my family life. And I don't need anybody to come looking for me and my family.
Amanza, what's your reaction? You muted us, Amanza.
Before the struggle has to continue until we get justice. That's it. That's just my reaction. This is a bridge. This is the straw that broke the proverbial camel's back. I have to take a moment listening to Sir Brian. People don't know what people go through to raise their children. Look at the pride in that father. His son got first. He said to us when we were at Touchen, he said, I was looking forward to her exam results because she was bright. Let me say something to all of the hypocrites and parasites that are coming on here to talk about, oh, the PNC is making this political and this is not political. I want to say something to them. You know why we have to speak up as opposition politicians? Because the likes of Priya Manik Chan, Charles Ramson, Anil Nandlal, uh, none of them, Mark Phillips, Onaj Walrun, Vindi Prasad, Sonia Parag, none of them, even though they are parents, fathers, and mothers, none of them will exhibit the courage to call for the resignation of Clifton Hickin or that he be sent home. None of them. This is why we must speak. So I want people to understand very clearly this. When you say to us, because we speak it is political, it is because the political party support.
Amanza, are you hearing me? So I
It is
think
because the
Amanza's
political
okay.
party that you support will never exhibit the humanity, will never exhibit the humanity to say that Hicken must go, that the command must go, that the police force must be reformed to serve and protect the people of Guyana. They will never say it. So we must. So you could talk about it being politics all you want. We will speak up and we will not shut up. I know this Air Valley putting meant that it has now become political.
Amanzo, you're breaking up a bit. Let me bring in
So the
Christopher
quickest thing with it
Jones.
is now
Let me bring in Amanzo. I think something is wrong with your internet. You're going in and out. If you can try to see if you could address that, and we'll come back to you. Chris, what's your reaction to the father's comments and the alleged eyewitness account? She seemed to have very specific information.
Yeah.
And based on my discussions with people both in the Guyana Police Force and people on the scene, they seem to think that her account is consistent with other accounts and what the grandmother said.
You know, Rickford, listening to the father, I myself a father of three, and more so, I have a 12-year-old daughter. And when as I mentioned before, when I first saw the police statement about this 11-year-old girl missing, and subsequently that they saw her entering a vehicle and so forth, immediately my mind and attention was drawn to my daughter. And then listening to the father and the family outside of the hotel. And, you know, as a parent, there is a gut feeling. I am here. I would sense that something is wrong with one of my children. And I would reach out to them. Where are you? And, you know, they ask you, Daddy, why are you asking? And just like, there is a feeling. And those parents and the family, they felt it. They knew that this girl was still in the hotel. A few years ago, the Guyana Police Force and the PPP sent to my home a party of more than 50 police officers. We had 14 police mobile vehicles. My street was cordoned off, police barricade. My neighbors couldn't exit the street or enter. And the police said they are there to retrieve barber chairs. A party of more than 50 police officers. Now, if this Guyana police force had the interest of that family and it was not a cover up, we could have seen a party of more than 50 officers sweeping that entire facility, top to bottom, door to door, room to room. But clearly, the Ghana police force and the officers who was on scene and the commander that is in charge was complicit. It is a clear cover-up. It is one of the clearest attempts to ensure that the family members don't enter that hotel to search the facility. There was another clear attempt to get the family to remove from that location. I remember listening to the aunt telling us, and they told the public, the police, that they just seen this girl at a bus shed at a different location. Yeah, come along, let me go. The aunt even said that one of the police officers went as far as saying, God is good. And then they give account that the girl entered a minibus, and they give the description of that bus and license plate and said that it was headed in the vicinity of Georgetown. And the police expressed concerns that, oh my, if this vehicle go to Georgetown, it's going to be even more difficult for us to locate this girl. Let us go, let us go. One of the clearest attempts to get the relatives and the residents who were gathered outside of the hotel to leave the facility, to leave the area, so that they can do what they wanted to do. And that was either to remove the young lady, if she was still alive, or the body out of the facility and plant it somewhere. And that same young man that they had in custody with the Ram vehicle, it would have been pinned on him. Listen, people talk about losing confidence in the Ghana police force. I've lost confidence in the Ghana police force many years ago, many years ago, because we've seen consistent cases in which the Ghana police force attempt or cover up issues. And as I mentioned before, the Ghana police force is politically directed. The owner of that hotel is politically connected. And therefore, the regional commander and some of the junior officers in the region, they have a responsibility to protect the interests of the owner and that hotel and that premises. I spoke many times about senior officers in the Ghana police force under the current administration, that many of these businessmen, business places and supermarkets and so forth, these police officers don't have to purchase anything. When there is a birthday and so forth, all they have to do is send their vehicles to these locations and it's loaded up with the most expensive wines and spirits. You understand me? They're compromised. They're compromised. And not only we saw the being placed on administrative leave, this commander, it is not only him. There are also those junior officers that were there too. They too are complicit. It is a major conspiracy of several members of the Ghana police force in that region. And therefore, you cannot trust the Ghana police force to investigate the Ghana police force. We know this. This is not new. We know this. It has to be somebody outside of Guyana and preferably outside of the region. Because when I heard, for example, the pathologist that was coming from Barbados, listen, there are certain key Caribbean countries that any matter of interest in Guyana, I don't want anyone from those Caribbean countries coming here to do any impartial, independent investigation. And I'll name them: Suriname, Barbados, worse yet, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. My apologies to the good folks who reside in those regions, but the administration has close links with your people there. I echo the sentiments that it has to be the FBI, it has to be the Scotland Yard, it has to be the Royal Mounted Police to launch an investigation into what transpired here. But you know, at the end of the day, Rick Ford, even when this investigation is completed and the reports are submitted, you know that is going to languish somewhere and gather dust. Because
well, Chris, do you think, let me ask you this, as you're a member of parliament, you guys probably feel a little powerless because this government doesn't even care. They don't report to the parliament. They just think that they're above the rule of law and the constitution. But do you think, one, there should be a special prosecutor appointed in this case, because it has to be divorced from the regular run-of-the-mill prosecutors at the DPP's office, because we're talking about this wide influence, this network of influence these rich folks have that allowed the fact that the police guarded the killers while they were killing the girl inside.
Yeah.
So do you think there should be, apart from Scotland Yard or the Canadian Mounted Police or the FBI, do you think there should be a special prosecutor, and that special prosecutor should be working directly with whatever agency in Guyana is liaisoning with the FBI or whatever, whoever is going to investigate this? And why do you think up to now no decision has been taken with regard to an external police agency or law enforcement agency investigating this heinous murder? Why you think the president or the commissioner of police and the crime chief have not said anything? We're not. It seems to me that the government is just waiting for the people's anger to subside, and to continue business as usual.
Exactly. No, listen, Rickford. Even with these international bodies working with local agency, I have a difficulty with. And you'll see at some point, perhaps before this week is concluded, we will hear from the Attorney General rebuffing calls that this investigation has to be independent and divorced.
Well, the Attorney General is a criminal himself.
There you go.
So, I mean, what do you expect?
There you go. And that is the point. You see, so many layers. And as Amanza said earlier, and that's why for me, as a politician who September of this year will mark 29 years in the politics in Guyana and knows the belly of the beast of the People's Progressive Party, I've often said to people, the only way you can fix this problem, you have to get rid of this government. Successive People's Progressive Party civic government, we've had incidents of this nature. Take, for example, under the PPP's government, we've had a sitting PPP minister of the government, Sadio Sah, and his family who were killed, slaughtered in their home. And the very PPP government did not launch an investigation into that incident. Why? And the public knew was that he was instructed to give certain individuals in Guyana plots of land in the interior in which they can operate private airstrips. And he refused because he knew what they wanted that for. And the same PPP, so if the People's Progressive Party civic as a government refused to launch an investigation into the murder or the slaughter of one of their own sitting ministers and his siblings and the security guard, what makes anyone in Guyana believe that under this PPP government, that they will allow international agencies like the FBI, like Scotland Yard, like the Canadian Mounted Branch to come to Guyana to conduct an independent investigation in which they'll be able to submit their report? They wouldn't allow it because the truth, as all of us already know, will come out to bear. And that's what they have to protect. The PPP is known for circling the wagon. Those commanders that are currently in place, they weren't there by accident. They weren't there because of their work and they moved up the rank. They were appointed.
Exactly. And let me jump in here. Let me bring a man in because police officers are complaining. Very senior police officers are now complaining that people like Narayan and Mandal, who's the commander that was just removed from Region 3, they are not police officers who have been in the field doing police work. They don't have the education, they don't have the knowledge, they don't have the training. They were just brought out of the Presidential Guard. They're PPP perceived to be PPP supporters or Finale's boys.
Gatekeepers.
He called on Paul Slaughter to promote, and Paul didn't promote them, so he tried to remove him unconstitutionally. But people are saying that these guys did not come up through the ranks. They've never managed any division in the police force, any section of the force, never had command of even a constable. They were just promoted. These because the PPP government wants to parachute their supporters into the police force at this high level because they say too many black people in the force. So these guys don't even know how to start an investigation, right? Apart from the corruption and probably taking money to help out this man here who apparently had somebody murdered on his property and possibly participated in that murder, they don't know what to do. So he's following. So listen, you had the Guyana police force was able to be influenced by a businessman to put out a press release that was a lie,
Yes.
to frame somebody
Mm-hmm.
of a crime that the owner themselves probably participated in, to use the police to create a distraction, to get the family to remove from in front of the keeping vigil in front of the hotel so that they could move this body, get the police to then. I mean, what in the world is going on here? And so, Amasa, do you think there should be a to be two separate investigations: the murder investigation and the police conduct investigation? And should they be done by one, the FBI or some other law enforcement agency in the West, or and a special prosecutor for each of these two investigations?
Absolutely. Absolutely. But I will also add, and I want every police officer that took an oath, every police officer under the sound of my voice, to hear this very, very clearly. You have the opportunity now to speak up. Now that all of this is laid bare, you have the opportunity to stand for something. And if you are a serving member of the police force and you are aware of all of these cover-ups and lies, and you stay silent, your silence is complicity. It means that by your silence, you are condoning this. There are some good men and women in the police force, and now is your time to step up to the plate and to join the people of Guyana in saying, I am a policeman, I am a policewoman, but I want to serve in a professional police force. Now is your time to stand up and be counted. Because if you do not speak up now, the Guyanese people are not going to let up. This is not going to be like all the other times. I see people say, oh, this is something that can last for 4 days and then it's back to business as usual. You have Guyanese from all walks of life, hurt, prepared to go out into the streets and to protest and to picket and to write and to lobby if necessary. And if you stay silent, you are complicit. Now is the time to begin to stand up and to speak up. Now is the opportunity for us to redeem this country from the depths to which it has fallen. And you men and women in the police force, the good ones, the ones who believe that they must protect and serve the people of Guyana and not just the wealthy. Now is your time to stand up and be counted. You have the ability to stop this. You have the ability to change this. You have the ability to say, I will no longer be a part of a rotten system, a system that would be complicit in the murder of an innocent child, and not only complicit in the cover-up of that murder, and not only complicit in the cover-up of the murder, but in the torching of every shred of evidence that could be used to bring the people to justice. You do not stand up and be counted this hour. The people of Guyana will remember and they will not forgive because we're not in a forgiving mood.
Yep.
So, he who hath an ears to hear, let them hear.
Yep.
The
rise of the oligarchs.
Chris, go ahead. I'm sorry, I'm talking to Darren Wade here. They were at the bridge. They were at the Denamsel police station, Leonora police station. They just had a meeting with the family. And I'm not sure if they are able to join us. But Amanza, the young lady who we just heard the witness, she verified that while the police was preventing those people from entering the building, the girl was inside, being dragged into a different room, probably trying to conceal the body. What do you make of that?
Well, I will say to that young woman that she has to come forward. Right? She has to come forward. Because, you can't have information about the crime and not come forward. You have to come forward. And I will also...
George Bacchus came forward and was killed.
No. I'm going to say this now, and I will also say that the international community has to take note of this.
Yeah.
And if possible, offer these people asylum.
Yeah.
Right? Because this is a powder keg waiting to explode. And you can't be upset with people if they choose to protect themselves and their families.
Yeah.
We have to set the enabling environment that will help people to feel comfortable coming forward and that they will be protected if they do. Again, the fact that you are hesitant to go to the police with reports of a crime is an indictment of the system itself. And so I want to make this point to the international community that you have to pay attention to what is happening here. Because you cannot talk to us about foreign direct investment and foreign investment. Investors do not come into a climate where there is unrest and where there's a complete breakdown of the law and order and where there's a dysfunctional police force. Because you know what that will give rise to? It will give rise to the militias that we are seeing being formed in Guyana. And I will draw our attention to a particular convoy that was turned back by the people yesterday with men in masks, big guns,
Sheriff
riding on
security.
the side of it is giving rise to paramilitary because nature abhors a vacuum. And if we do not fix the police force, you're going to begin to find people using private law enforcement, which our legal framework does not envision, but which the PPP are fine in harboring and coddling because guess what? It will protect their families, it will protect their children, and damn the poor and those without connections. And this is why we have to understand that this is not a fight we could give up on, that this is not something that we could wake up tomorrow and say, oh God, I'm tired. This is something that we have to press for because this is the country that our children have to live in. Buju says something, who can afford to run will run, but what about those who can't? They will have to stay. And it's people like Sir Brian and Adriana and those people who can't afford to run that will have to stay and bear the brunt of this.
Amanda, what do you make? I want to push a little further. Do you think Sheriff Security was being especially provocative and they wanted to provoke a situation where potentially they could have shot those
because
protesters?
What was he doing there? What was he doing there? And I truly believe that the president issuing a statement about this is becoming political is because that was blocked. They were blocked from proceeding, etc.
And somebody's just making the point here in the comments that Sheriff Security is emerging as the next Roger Candidate squad. That's the comment right here. And I myself wonder, what were they doing there? And I used to live at Lenore Police Compound, right? I grew up there. You can go around the public road. There are several roads in Lenore you could go around. You could use to go through the back and come out in a different street. Why Sheriff Security, when they knew that and Amir Ahmad himself came out and was challenging the Deputy Commissioner of Police, Mr. Simon McBean, challenging him, telling him to let him go through, let him go personally mow down the protesters. I mean, this situation in Guyana with these guys who are connected to the PPP, believing that they're all powerful. And by the way, the United States, my understanding is that the United States government has labeled Sheriff Security a militia. They don't believe it's a legitimate security agency based on their political activities. Chris, what do you make of Sheriff Security finding their way into the crowd of protesters and insisting to go through when the police had cordoned off the road?
Right. So 2 points. Let me just piggyback quickly on the eyewitness who gave account and so forth.
Uh-huh.
I share the sentiments, and I want to urge that person to, one, as early as possible, get a legal representative and make your way to perhaps the U.S. Embassy, in which you will be able to speak with the consulate there, in which you will be able to share your information, and as Amanza pointed out, to try to seek asylum to get out of this country. Because, like we saw with George Bacchus, who himself believed that by coming forward, coming public, and sharing the information that he had, and by virtue of him being public, he personally believed that nothing, no harm will come to him. And we saw the contrary to that. That eyewitness account confirms what people and relatives outside of the hotel knew, that their daughter or relative was inside of the hotel. And that eyewitness account contradicts every statement from the police. It contradicts the commander that was on the ground in the premises, and the constable and the police officers who were there. All of them, she contradicts. So she needs to make her way to the embassy to seek asylum and share that information. In terms of sheriff security, now, indeed, I don't know if he resides over in Region 3, but I consider the move to be very provocative. And for me, it is not something that you expect. It's almost like if you were looking for a confrontation, because you are aware that the street is closed and people are protesting, and you know why. To turn up there with persons armed is
And
to,
masks. Not
in
only
masks
armed,
as
but masks,
well.
with
It's to
masks, facial
invoke,
masks.
correct. It is to invoke a reaction. And well, in the case of the commander, the officer on the ground who instructed the vehicle to turn around, kudos to him, because perhaps he recognized what
Well, it
was
was Deputy Commissioner McBean,
yeah.
who's a very level-headed man. Listen, I'm getting reaction from members of the Guyana Police Force to our discussion. One person messaged me and said, I must make it very clear that the senior ranks of the Guyana Police Force and other ranks of the Guyana Police Force do not condone what happened in Region 3 and believe that it was a crime what the police did. That's one rank. Another person has said to me, these are all officers in key positions that were transferred out of the Presidential Guard by this government and placed in strategic positions in the Guyana Police Force. And they've listed them. 1, Senior Superintendent K. Shivbaran, Commander of Region 2, removed from Presidential Guard and placed there. ASP Mandal, which is the man here now, he was a superintendent then, promoted and placed up in Region 3 from the Presidential Guard. Assistant Commissioner C. Narayan from the Presidential Guard and Special Branch. Superintendent Ali, Deputy Commander in Region 9, Presidential Guard. Assistant Commissioner M. Singh, Traffic Chief from the Presidential Guard. Senior Superintendent Saw, former Commander of Region 1 from the Presidential Guard. Senior Superintendent Romana, Commander Region 1, Guardian of the ballot boxes from Presidential Guard. All of these people are from the PPP. That's what this police officer is alleging. They're from the PPP. They were in Presidential Guard placed there to protect, the PPP presidents. And now they have been brought into the police force, no training, no experience, never commanded anything, but they're placed in these strategic positions because Barrett Jackdale and Irfan Ali told the police commissioner, and Clifton Hicken confirmed this. Sorry, not Clifton Hicken. The one that was fired. Deputy Commissioner acting Brutus confirmed this. Barrett Jackdale and Irfan Ali, in this from another police officer now, instructed that there were too many Afro-Guyanese in the leadership of the police force all across the force. Listen, not me saying it. These are police officers. So they're saying now that these men don't know how to run an investigation or a division. They were just brought in to the police force from Presidential Guard. And according to what they're saying here, these guys, some of them were not even police officers. before they went into presidential guard. I don't know. That's what the people are saying.
Record, let me iterate what I said before and perhaps expound a bit more on it. The placement of these persons in these strategic location and regions and so forth is because they are gatekeepers. I remind your viewers that Ghana is heading into general and regional elections, and the People's Progressive Party Civic is quite aware of what is likely going to be the outcome. And those officers who have been placed in those locations is what I call the gatekeepers, because their role is simple: to suppress any protests or any disenchantment that is happening in the region. Two, to do like what we saw happen in Region 3 at the hotel, to cover up any incident that is likely going to expose a funder, a financier of the People's Progressive Party Civic,
Or a rapist
relative.
from the PPP.
Exactly, or a relative of a senior PPP functionary. That is their role and function. Amanza Walton Desir turns up in Mabaruma or Port Kaituma or Matthews Ridge and so forth, and she's speaking to residents there, and she seeks permission to host a public meeting. That commander there can deny it, and he has the authority because he's the police officer. So that is what is happening. The PPP has been strategically placing gatekeepers in all key functions of this country, whether it is from the Parliament of Ghana with the Speaker, whether it's from the Ghana Defense Force, the aspect of the Ghana Police Force, in the regional command, you name it. It is not by accident. And that's why I said, if you know the beast, and the key idea with them is to place these people months before an elections. So when elections are had, they can always use the argument, listen, that this officer was here for the past 9-10 months. You understand me? It is not a case that they're going to be placed a few weeks before the election. They are tightening up on mistakes that they made in the past, because at past elections, we've had incidents in which senior officers or commanders of particular regions were appointed a mere month or a month and a half before the elections, and we exposed those. So that's why this time around, they're ensuring that they correct that folly and appoint these people months before. I mean, Rickford, with terrorists, they have what they call the sleeper cells, that they are there, you don't even know they're there, and when that the right time and moment is there, that's when the sleeper cells comes alive. So many of those placements and so forth in those regions, and you haven't even named all of the persons there. So they are there in those regions, and they're sleeper cells coming into the elections.
Paul Slow talks about this all the time.
Correct.
With these guys, they're just brought in there and placed as commanding officers with no experience or qualification whatsoever. We have 4 minutes more before the end of our time, a little time for the show. Amanza, your last words, and then I'll come back to Christopher Jones.
Well, in my comments, as we wrap up the show, Rickford, I believe that Guyanese are looking for solutions. And I believe that we have to present those solutions to them. What this has done is that it has laid bare, really, just the underbelly of what all of us know has been happening for a long time but could never prove. I want to go on record as commending the Laura Batsons of this country, who first drew the nation's attention to the fact that this was happening over the river. I want to commend, Adriana's father, who really stood in the measure of a man, a protector, a defender of his family. Not university educated. He made it clear. He said, I can't read or write. But he stood there. Ordinary, everyday folks. They don't have a platform. They don't have titles behind their names. And we've seen from these people just incredible leadership. Adriana's father has provided this country with leadership. He has given us a lesson in leadership. You do not leave your people behind. You do not move until you get what you are asking for. He says, my daughter isn't there and I want her and I am not moving. And he taught us that. Sleep on the road the night. He doesn't have political office. He don't have a big platform. He said he don't even know about the technology. Right? But he showed us.
I see Darren Wade trying to join us. I'm not sure he's gone off from out of the studio. They're traveling back to Georgetown now. So
yes, he's messaging me saying they're having some connectivity issues, and they're gonna keep trying to come in. And so, I think it's for each and every one of us to sit down and understand what this teaches us as a nation. Guyana is at the place that it has never been before. And we got to see change out of this. We have to see change out of this. As somebody who's in parliament, I will continue to use my platform with all of my energy to ensure that change comes. But this is not a singular fight. One person can't fight this fight. This requires every Guyanese. If you're PPP, if you're PNC, it does not matter. Because every Guyanese wins when we got a functioning police force. Every Guyanese wins when law and order is ensured. And if the ministers on the other side of the government, if the government supporters cannot find it in themselves to call for the resignation of Clifton Hicken, to call for the resignation of the commander.
Hi, Darren, you want to give an update on the phone?
To demand reform, then we,
just briefly,
the opposition, have to do it.
About the gentleman with the autopsy, you can talk about the
Rickford, we're hearing you.
Yes. I have Darren here. I want him to give us a live update. Darren, can you give us an update about the concerns you have about people who may have videos, etc.? You want them to preserve them, and you create some facility, some utility for them to get it on to investors, and what progress you've made with regard to the pathologists, etc. Darren is representing the family.
So wait for a minute there. I'm extremely tired. Ask me a question.
You just go ahead. Go ahead. And we know you're tired. Go ahead. Just give us those two updates. Darren, you're live, So Darren, what's you issued a statement today calling for person to preserve video evidence they might have. Can you tell us some more about that?
In the heat of the moment, a lot of pictures and videos are being shared, and when you actually need them, and we intend to hand them over to investigators in the future. So when we need them, they may disappear. People may go to their phones and delete for space and so forth. So we believe it's critical and important that they save those pictures, so we could share with them when it becomes necessary.
Pictures and videos. And lastly, when do you expect the pathologists from the United States to arrive in Guyana, and when do you expect the autopsy to be done?
Right. So as you're aware, we were able to retain Dr. Collins from the chief medical examiner for the United States, state of Delaware. Those of you are aware that the previous President Biden is from Delaware, so it is the chief examiner from Biden's state that we were able to retain. The family was able to retain. So we expect him tomorrow for the autopsy on Monday. He has made some requests that the bodies, and what he explained to us, that certain basic procedures, for example, the scanning of the bodies and the scanning and the x-rays of the body should have already been done. So he has requested for those things to be done now, to preparation for the post-mortem.
Great, thanks. Get home safely.
Thank you, Rick.
Yeah. So that's Darren Wade, the attorney for the family. Go ahead, Amanda. Sorry to disturb you.
No, I think it's Chris's turn. I have made my closing comment. It's time to act now. We just have to do what we have to do.
And
It's time.
Darren was telling us there that he's extremely tired. He's been out on the West Coast all day, and they had
Yes,
some to
he has.
resolve some issues at the Lenore police station and the Damsel police station. I think pertaining to people who were detained from protesting yesterday and today. Chris?
Yeah, thank you very much, Rickford. You know, Rickford, I want to start off by saying, as I post on social media last night, who feels it knows it. And I want to take the opportunity first to commend the almost thousands of people who have thus far taken to social media to express their outrage, to make the calls for this independent investigation. They made the call for persons to be fired, to demit office, and so forth, commissioner, the police, etc., and so forth. I want to commend them. I want to speak directly to supporters of the People's Progressive Party Civic. As a politician on the opposition side, and as a person who's been involved in politics for a number of years, I want to say to you that, listen, irrespective of which one of our party is in power, it is expected that organizations operate in the manner that they should. Whether it's the Guyana Police Force, whether it's the public hospital, whether it's a ministry. You know, there's a saying, when your neighbor house is on fire, throw water on yours. Because you may be a supporter of the PPP, you may disregard all that has transpired in Region 3, disregard the father's comment and the allegation that it's a cover-up. And God forbid that a similar incident occurs to you or your family member. You will then take to the street and call for justice. And that's why they say, when your neighbor house on fire, throw water upon yours. This is a young family. It is an 11-year-old girl. And if you have grandchildren or a child, like I do, like a Manza and so forth, is that immediately when you listen to the father, when you listen to the parents, your child comes to mind. And like I was saying when I watched what was transpiring outside of the hotel, Rickford, had it been, God forbid, my daughter, I kid you not, sir, and I hope my expression doesn't come over as negative or cause any issues there. But Rickford, as a licensed firearm holder, if God forbid that had been my daughter.
That's all right, Chris. We got a message.
You get
We got
the
a, we,
message?
we
Thank
get a
you.
message. We
Right.
got a
So
message.
I call on those folks. So lend your voice to this call for justice for that family and let the chips fall where they may.
And I would say, if it was my child, all hell would have break loose at that hotel there. All hell.
Yep.
Listen, this has been an unprecedented program. Wow. The audience actually reached 100,000 at one point. 100,000. I'm getting so many messages from Africa. Somebody messaged me from Nigeria. What is really going on in Guyana? Persons messaging me from Suriname. Friend of mine from Jamaica. Somebody's asking, what would it take to get rid of the government? Vote them out. I'm getting messages from all around the Caribbean, St. Lucia, St. Vincent. Listen, Barbados. People, this thing has resonated with people. And I don't think that the government of Guyana understands. As a matter of fact, I'm also getting a message to inform persons that there will be a vigil, 2 more vigils in Richmond Hill tomorrow. One tonight, tonight from 7 to 6 p.m. at 95, 95, I don't know. Oh, at Phil Scooter Park, 95 Avenue and 125 Street, South Richmond Hill. Risotto Park. And that's in the 11419 area code. Today and tomorrow. That's today and tomorrow. There will be a vigil. Tomorrow and today, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. at the Risotto Park, and that's 95 95th Avenue and 125th Street, South Zone. That's all, folks. We'll do another show on Tuesday night and Thursday night as normal. We will not do a show tomorrow because we've had this one today. But thanks, Chris and Amanza, so much for taking time out of your busy schedule. And thank you for being on the ground. Thank you guys for the work that you do. And we look forward to continuing this discussion and the fight for justice for Adrinna Younge. Thank you. Thanks for the audience. Thanks for listening. Have a good night and happy weekend, everybody.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you, Rick.
Have a good evening. Bye, guys.